Hello, Year 4, and welcome back to our third lesson of outdoor learning this half term. We are going to be carrying on with our topic of camouflage and colours and patterns. Let me just share my screen and then we can get started. Fantastic. So, the last couple of lessons, we have been looking at camouflage. Today, we are going to be concentrating on colours and patterns in nature. So, just to kick us off, there are quite a few patterns on your screen. I would like to give you, I'm going to give you a minute, either thinking in your head, jotting it down on a piece of paper if you've got a piece of paper, or if you're working with somebody in the room with you, have a quick chat. Can you identify any of these patterns from nature? Just to give you a little clue, there are some plants and some animals in there. I'm going to give you a minute. Off you go now. Well done, Year 4. I wonder if, I bet you were able to spot more than me. These are the ones that I came up with. So these are the ones that I could see immediately. So well done if you spotted any of these. So obviously in the animals, we had a peacock and a ladybird, a snake, the shell of a snail, I think, and a giraffe. And then from plants, we had the pineapple and raspberry, the bark from a tree, and then we also had a fungus, the kind of top of a toadstool mushroom there. And there were some others as well, which you may have found. So well done. Another quick question for you. Why do you think patterns in nature are important? And I want you to have a think about why they are important to plants and animals, but also why are they important to us as humans? I'm just going to give you 20 seconds to have a little think or a quick chat or jot it down on your piece of paper. Well done, Year 4. So these are some of the things that I was thinking about. So the first view are all about what we have done by looking at the patterns in nature. So people have built buildings and whole cities based on these patterns that we have seen in nature. People have created art based on the patterns that we can see in nature. People have used patterns like the alphabet and sign language to help us to communicate with one another. And people have used patterns in nature to try and help us understand nature a little bit more. And the final one is basically the one that we've been looking at in the last two lessons, that plants and animals often use patterns for survival, maybe to find their food or water, or to hide from predators, like in camouflage that we were talking about. You might have also thought of some more reasons why patterns are really important. So well done if you thought of any that I haven't thought of. So there are lots of different patterns in nature, But generally, there are 5 patterns that we can find in nature, 5 key patterns. You might, again, think of some other ones. So there's the spiral, there's a meander pattern, explosion, the packing pattern, and branching pattern. And we're going to just have a quick look at some examples. So we've got the spiral pattern, often seen in shells, in a cactus. So remember we were talking about survival. So that spiral pattern in a cactus helps it to conserve water. And a plant tendril, which is a bit that comes off the plant there, and you can see it coming off in a spiral. So those are some examples of some spiral patterns. Again, you might think of some others that I haven't got up here. So we've got the meander pattern, all right? So a snake meandering through the sand and ripples in the water. An explosion pattern. So we've got sunflower, and often lots of flowers have this kind of explosion pattern, and a snowflake. So that's starting from the center and exploding out. So packing might be grains of sand or pebbles, or the honeycombs of a beehive. And finally, the branching pattern, which is probably one of the patterns that we see most often. Veins on a leaf and the branches of a tree. So your activity today is to sketch some patterns which capture your imagination. And these should be patterns that we see in nature. So if you can, go outside with an adult and have a look at some of the patterns that you can see outside. You could look outside your window and see if you can see any patterns in nature. There might be some patterns inside your house. So I don't know if you can see, but next to me I have got a plant. So you might have some plants inside your house that you can have a look at, and that you can see that this has got the branching pattern on its veins very clear on the leaf here. Or you might be able to think of some patterns that you have previously seen in nature, or you could even go on the internet and research some of the patterns found in nature and then do a sketch of them. All right, I would really love it if you could sketch 4 patterns that you can see or that we might find in nature. So you could divide a piece of paper into 4 parts and see if you can find 4 different patterns in nature. If you can find more, amazing. Here are a few to give you some ideas of what I am after. Okay, so you might be able to recognize a spider's web. There's the kind of honeycomb pattern, some flowers and leaves and branches in there. And again, the packing pattern you can see there, the explosion pattern at the top right, and some meandering patterns. So I'd be really interested to see what patterns you can find either in your local area, looking outside your window. You might want to do some research on the internet of a pattern that you know that you've seen before, but you can't quite remember it. That's fine. You can do some internet research, or like me, you could have some plants in your house that you can have a look at, or something from nature. You might have collected shells or rocks, feathers, or you might even have a pet inside your house. You can have a look if they've got any patterns on their fur, for example. Anyway, Thank you, Year 4. I am very much looking forward to seeing the patterns that you have found in nature. Please upload your work onto Seesaw, because I've really enjoyed looking at all those pieces of work that you have uploaded so far. Right, take care, and I will see you next week. Bye.